That's gonna be shiny. Mr. Van Pelt, you there?
Yep.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for taking the time to
Of course.
to talk to us. We got about 60 to 70 kids here who are excited to
Oh,
hear
wow.
from you. And they've got questions ready, and they've kind of been talking about what they want to ask you. So
Fantastic.
if you're willing, could you take maybe a minute or two, kind of talk about your life and career, and then we'll open it up to the kids.
Fantastic. Well, first of all, thank you. I'm glad we were able to make this work out. Just so you guys know out there, we've been trying to get this sorted out. I'm all over the place. We've had a lot going on. Had a fire in the house I live in the spring. This is a temporary home I'm living in for a while. So it's just been a lot that's been happening, but I'm glad we could do this morning. As far as career goes, I always like to leave it open to you guys. Whatever you want to know, I'm happy to answer. But the Cliffs Notes, the quick one, I went to Maryland, University of. We beat West Virginia in football and basketball the last time we played them. No big deal. I had an internship locally in Washington, D.C. with a guy at Channel 5, Fox. It's a Fox affiliate. And I met a guy who was part of the startup of the Golf Channel. And that was in Orlando, Florida. And through the internship, I developed a relationship with him so that when the Golf Channel started several years later, he thought of me. And I got a chance to go down there. And I met Tiger Woods when Tiger was a freshman at Stanford. And that was a relationship that had probably as much to do as any with why everything kind of worked out, because he became the biggest star in sports. And I was covering him, and it led to ESPN, which, you know, I'm cutting a million things out here, but just the gist of the path was internship, Golf Channel led to opportunity, which led to ESPN. I've been there for longer than you all have been alive, which is amazing. But it's been 20 some odd years I've been there, and I've done everything there. I've been a reporter. I hosted the 6 o'clock Sports Center, the 11 o'clock, the overnight. I now have my own that I do. I've done radio. I've hosted golf. I'm now doing Monday Night Countdown. So, I mean, I've kind of had a chance to try a lot of different things. I think I've tried to, you know, find that lane that I'm best at. I suppose Sports Center is the thing that's been the meat of what I've done. But I've just been incredibly fortunate. And then I've also worked really, really hard once I got lucky to sort of stay lucky, if that makes sense, right? I think everybody gets a break. But then what do you do with it? You know, no one stays lucky for 20 something years. So somewhere along the way, I believe, I hope I've become decent at what I do. And then I work really, really, really hard to make sure that I can stay in the chair I'm in and keep doing it. But that's the Cliffs Notes, as I said, and I'm happy to answer any questions that your class has about the specific things or the sports I cover or the people I cover, whatever interests you all. I'm here for you guys.
All right, perfect. Some kids have questions about sports right now, and some kind of your journey, and they have an interest in journalism. So I'm going to let them take it away if you're
Fantastic.
good with it. So we have a student who always is the first question. He's a senior. He's actually the quarterback of the football team. So he's going to ask, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
Okay, cool.
Mr. Van Pelt, you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, like Mr. Vincent said, I play quarterback at the school, and I'm going to play college football, but what I want to major in is sports broadcasting. So I kind of just want to know, like, what advice you have for me as being the biggest face in, you know, sports broadcasting, reporting, whatever.
Be you. Don't change who you are for anyone. You know, ultimately, what makes anybody any good. You know, look at my place. Like the people that I think, like a Stephen A. Like Stephen A. is him, man. He didn't change for anybody, and I'm sure people along the way tried to make him be different. Don't be different. Like what makes you great and interesting is what makes you great and interesting. The things that you have that nobody else does. As far as like the nuts and bolts of what you can do, the most important thing that you can do is right. learn to write and learn to write in the voice that's your voice, to say the things that you feel. Whether it was radio, whether it was reporting, whether it's what I do on SportsCenter, like we'll be on tonight after the NBA. Like it's I'm the one writing it. And I think if you watch, this is how I talk on the show. Like I don't get on television and start talking like a broadcaster guy. Don't do that. Just be you. Just be you. Work hard at the writing. That's the craft part of this. And if you want to do it, just know what it's going to cost and what it's going to take. People say to me all the time, "Oh, I want to do what you do." I'm like, "Okay, bet. You want to work until 2 a.m? You want to work Christmas Day? Because I'll be working Christmas Day. You want to work on weekends? Because I'm going to work on weekends." So, like, I'm not acting like it's hard work. I'm just acting like I'm telling you it's a lot of work. So,
for sure.
if you want to do it, do your thing. Where are you going to play college ball?
I'm undecided right now, but I got some scholarship offers and stuff. So I'm going to commit somewhere in January, but I'm just holding off until then.
Fantastic.
Yes,
all the best on the field. Enjoy that. Play as long as you can. And then recognize that the playing is going to end, man. And when it does, if you got this in your back pocket, then you'll be all set. Good luck to you, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
No doubt. Good luck.
Hello, Mr. Van Pelt. My name is Nate. I
Hey,
play
Nate.
basketball. And I was just wondering what you thought about like the NBA in-season tournament. Like, what were your thoughts on it in the courts?
I don't know what it is. I don't understand it. And none of the players do. None of the coaches do. I don't get it. I don't understand what the point of it is. It's like you're gonna tell me a league where dudes are making like 80 million, 50, 60 million a year, and you're gonna put, money up as the incentive. I don't get it. I don't understand what they're trying to do, trying to make regular season games that matter. Well, then what, the other ones don't matter? Like, I don't get it. And again, you can create a different playing floor that they're on. Kind of looks different. That's all I can tell you. Are you a fan of the league?
Yeah.
Do
I'm
you
not
like
sure
it?
I don't like the courts. I don't think the courts are very.
Right. Like,
think,
what are we looking at?
yeah, I don't think they have a good enough incentive. So, I mean, I think it's something new. I'm glad that they're trying something to make the games matter more, but I don't know if I'm a big fan of it.
Okay, you're who they're going for. They're going for probably the younger demographic with a court, and you're the one saying, I don't like, kind of looks odd.
Yeah.
I just, that feels like doing too much to me. Like, you don't need to make the floor like some, Space Jam kind of court, but you hit the key word, the incentive. Like, I don't know what the reward is, and it can't just be money because these guys already make too much of it. So I get that you're trying to make games feel like they matter more. But as one of their league partners, right, it's us and TNT. We just, like, I'm on tonight. Like, I just want the guys that are the stars on these teams to be playing. And too many times they haven't been. So that's the big key, is to get the best players on the floor as often as we can.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
A little bit to you.
Hey, Mr. Van Pelt, my name's Landon. And
Hey,
my
Landon.
question was, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year?
I thought Baltimore was the best team in the NFL going into last weekend, then they blew a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter on their home field. I think the best part of this year, I think right now, Landon, is the Chiefs have a good record, but they haven't looked great. The Eagles have a good record, but they got a stretch coming up here where they're playing an unbelievable 5 or 6 game schedule. I feel like the Lions could maybe end up with the best record in the NFC because their schedule's easy, which is kind of incredible. But anyway, it's Kansas City, Philly, Detroit. Jacksonville had a nice record. San Francisco obliterated them.
Yeah.
San Francisco, to me, when they're healthy, might be as good as anybody. And so it's probably it's like a 5 or 6 team list right now that feels like the team. But what I'm telling you is we haven't got to Thanksgiving yet. Then we're going to get to Christmas, and then we're going to get to January. So if I answered it, San Francisco, I'll say that now, and I'm just saying it to answer your question. But that's going to change 3 or 4 times between now and when we get there. And health is such a big thing. I just read this morning Deshaun Watson's done for the year.
Yeah.
That means Cleveland's done. Like they can't win without that guy.
Yeah.
So your health is going to be so important. Really, I could just tell you I don't know because I don't. But I would be shocked if it doesn't come from that list of about 5 or 6 teams that I think have shown us that they're pretty good. Who are you a fan of?
I mean, I'm a fan of the Steelers, but I think the Eagles will probably win the Super Bowl.
Mike Tomlin's my guy. I love him.
Yeah.
I just I joked the other night about it. They played 9 games. They've been outgained in all 9 games, and somehow they're 6-3. And I played the video. I'm like, Mike Tomlin, do you care? We do not care. I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they don't. But you can't keep winning games if you get outgained every time.
I agree.
Not continue, man. At some point, they're going to need to win a game because Pickett or somebody goes off and they score 30 points. But that's just not how they go typically.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. See you, Landon.
You got a question? Rudy? Got a question?
Come on, Rudy.
All right. While the next person's coming up here, in the coming weeks, we're going to talk about golf. Can you kind of talk about what the Masters means to you and just
wow.
Yeah.
It's my favorite place to go. It's just a unique place. It's hard to describe it. There are a lot of things you turn on television, like in the NFL, like Lambeau Field's a cool spot, right? And in the NBA, maybe it's the Garden in New York City, or maybe Boston, some of the older places. In baseball, Wrigley Field or Fenway, some, again, older places. But ultimately, a baseball field is a baseball field. A basketball court's a basketball court. Augusta National is the only place like that I've ever been. And, you know, it's just feels different than any other place. And I've gotten to know people. I've gotten to know, you know, the people who work at the work on the grounds that have become like friendly to me. These are relationships that go back 20 some odd years. So every spring when I go there, there's this one spot. I was going to open up my phone and find a picture of it. There's this one place I go. It's on the par 3 course, and it's just it overlooks this hole, and that's it right there. I'll try to hold it up and see if I can make it make sense. If you see that spot right there, that's just a hole on the par 3 course. And I go there every morning on my walk up towards the Butler cabin, which is where I sit during the tournament for the first couple of days. And I just stop and I just take a moment. It's just a prayer of thanks, you know, like, dear Lord, here I am. I'm here. And all the places in the world, this is where I am today. And I've been here for a lot, and it means a lot to me that I get to do it. It's a peaceful place, a serene place. You know, I don't want to go too deep here with y'all, but like, you know, I've lost people in this world, and that place feels as much like if you close your eyes and imagine what heaven might be like, you know, it feels kind of like that. So I just take a minute every day, and it's just it's about gratitude, and that place makes me feel a whole lot of it. So as you can tell, it's a place that means as much to me as any in sports. And I'm grateful that I've been able to go there every spring for a long time.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Here's Sebastian. We're gonna have some more students.
Hi, Mr. Van Pelt. My name is Sebastian. I was wondering, like, who you think the most influential person in sports is?
Oof. Right
Like,
now?
out of all of them. No, not right now. It can be all time.
Wow. Wow. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was a guy who represented, so I mean, the man went to jail over his beliefs. He was a man, a black man in a time when the world was different and not in great ways, but he was a man who spoke his truth. He was loud, he was brash, and then he backed it up, man.
Yeah.
I think, given who he was during the time he was, I think he represented a confidence in self that I think athletes today can look at. You know, you look, I mean, Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in baseball and had to stare into the eyes and faces of people that didn't want him to do it. And he's like, I'm gonna do it. And then he did it. You know, when you talk about most influential, I think what you're talking about are people who stood for something that changed something forever. Robinson did it, Ali did it. I mean, you wanted me to narrow it down to one, brother. That's tough, but I think I'd say Muhammad Ali.
What do you think about like current, like somebody playing in a league right now?
A guy like LeBron James, man, he became a billionaire. He was he was a kid.
Yeah.
And had the guts to call himself the chosen one. You're like, oh, is that right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, he might have been the chosen one. Like he became a champion. He's gonna be an owner, I would think, at some point, kind of like Jordan. Tiger Woods was a guy I met. He changed things drastically. If you ask 10 people, you get 10 answers, more than likely. For you, you're younger than me by a lot. Like who's the athlete of your time that you feel like has had the most significant change?
Well,
do you have one?
The most significant change would probably be LeBron, but like Kobe passing had a big influence, but like,
well, that was
when football that I've had like positive and negative influences.
That's true. I'll tell you this about meeting him and knowing Kobe. The cool thing, which makes it even more tragic, was that he was in a, you know, he had made mistakes, and I think he'd grown and learned from those mistakes, and he was becoming so invested in what he could do moving forward with his platform.
Yeah.
Like a filmmaker. Let me back up. As a dad, first and foremost, but with his influence, he won an Oscar for filmmaking. Like he was what his next act was going to be big. I don't know what it was going to be. But yeah, no, Kobe was awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's my pleasure.
Hi, my name is Vin Geisen. I'm a junior, and I was just gonna ask. You said the Steelers been outgained in every game, so how do you think they're 6-3? Like,
how do I think what? I'm sorry.
Like, why do you think the Steelers are 6-3, even though they've been outgained in every game?
I have absolutely no idea. I think there's something to be said for, like Mike talked about it the other day. Mike Tomlin obviously it's somehow valuing the football, valuing your defense, being able to just if you can get a lead, making it be enough. Winning is a learned behavior, because it creates the belief that you're going to. They've won a bunch of games just like the one they won last week, where their defense takes their toes and heels and puts them on the line of the end zone, and it's like, all right, we just can't let them score on this play, and if we stop them, we're going to win. And they did. I mean, it feels like they're having to do that time and time again. And if it's a 50-50 game, then it's just like flipping a coin. And if I flip a coin and heads equals win, it's not going to be heads every game. And in the NFL, you're trying to hang on and win every game by 2 or 3 points or 4 points or something like that. That's a tough way to make a living, man. That league is really difficult. But Mike's my favorite coach. I think he creates a belief in the room that shows itself on Sunday in games. And it's like, okay, we're up 17-13. Let's make that be enough. And somehow they do. At some point, though, you know, you run up against a Kansas City or somebody, and it's just like, belief's good, but, you know, 35 points is better. You know what I'm saying? Like, can Pickett in that offense give him a little bit more? Matt Canada is a friend of mine, so I know how much he's had to deal with there. People all want him out. But I don't know. I keep rooting for him in that offense. And they've been better lately. You're a fan of them?
Yeah, I mean, originally in the start, I wasn't a fan of Matt Canada, but
I get it. I'm just saying Pittsburgh in general, the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Steelers.
Well, I mean, I think Warren and Najee have both gotten going. I think when you can lean on that run game, and both of them have been really good in these last few games. Good to see Najee get loose a little bit. They can lean on that. You know, they don't need Pickett to throw for 300 yards. You know, I know 14 would like to be on the receiving end of a few more passes, but that's a whole other deal. But Look, man, they're 6-3. That's all that matters. I have no idea how they've done it, but I think belief's a big part of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Van Pelt. My name is
Oh,
Caden.
hey.
I'm gonna ask a pretty controversial question, but who do you think the GOAT is in basketball?
Michael Jordan. It's not controversial at all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
That's it.
That's
All
it.
right.
That's all I got.
You agree with me? You
Oh,
agree with me?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, my man. That's a young man that knows what's up right there.
DJ coming up. DJ, you have a question or Don't be in a hurry.
All right. Hello, my name is DJ Chambliss, and I have a pretty big question for you.
Okay.
Why do you think people say Dak's so bad? Because as a Cowboys fan, I think he's pretty good.
I think the Cowboys are always going to get massive reaction because they're the Cowboys. Like there's a reason in the morning show space why Skip Bayless makes such a big production out of Dallas and why Stephen A. Smith makes such a big production out of Dallas. It's because they move the needle, man. And so in Dak's case, he's been their quarterback during this time where they've been in the mix, and they lost the game to San Francisco in the playoffs. And then they lost another one on the road in the playoffs, but that was after they beat Tampa, where the question is going to be like, is he good enough to win the game? And I would say this. I think putting it all on a quarterback makes no sense. And I'm going to say, here's an example why. I don't know if you saw the Lions and the Chargers game on Sunday. All right. Yeah. But that game went back and forth, back and forth. Justin Herbert, the last 5 times the offense for the Chargers touched the football, scored 5 straight touchdowns. The Chargers had the ball 3 times in the second half, scored a touchdown to tie it, scored a touchdown to tie it, scored a touchdown to tie it. They didn't get the ball back at the end because Detroit kicked the field goal and won. So that means Justin Herbert didn't win the game. What was he supposed to do? He did every possible thing he could do except play defense and stop Detroit. So what I'm getting at is when you're the quarterback, Dak Prescott, it's going to be on you. Why don't you win the game? He's been awesome these last few. Now, the last game against the Giants were a disaster, but he was great against Philly. Now, got down there in the red zone, and they didn't score they didn't score a touchdown on that 4th and 1. I don't know. You watch that game, the tight end caught it, was like an inch short. He didn't get in from the 2-yard line on the 2-point conversion because he just barely stepped out of bounds. These are the things that where the quarterback, they're going to put it on you. I don't think that's fair. So I guess what I'm giving you a really long answer to say, if you're a Dak fan, I think Dak's good enough. At some point, though, he needs to be the reason why they win one of these games, where he puts the team on his back, leads them down, they win, and everybody can just tell everybody to shut the hell up. Excuse my language. But like, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take that kind of performance in a game against the Eagles or a game in the playoffs to get Dallas over the hump. But my short answer is that he's absolutely good enough. In this league, there's 3 or 4 guys at that position that are absolutely guys that like start with Mahomes because he's done it over and over again. But then if you're not that, then it's like somehow you're a bum. Like if I put it this way, Dallas, if you got rid of Dak Prescott, who are you going to get? Who are you going to get? What are you going to go get?
I don't want nobody.
Who are you going to go get? Mahomes? You're going to get Mahomes? So, okay, so who are you going to get? You're going to get Hurts? You're going to get Hurts? Like, that's who you got. He just needs to make it be enough.
All right, thank you.
You got it.
I was wondering how your passion for sports has been affected when doing it as a career and how it's been with your private life.
Let me make sure I understand the question. Like, am I still a fan in like when I'm not working? How do you mean that for the private life? Like
with your family and your friends.
They all know that I love it. Like I thought I thought at some point I'd get sick of it, and I just haven't. I find it interesting all the time. Like, you know, I still cheer for the teams I cheered for when I was your age. And now I'm, you know, you get to be in your 50s and you're like, you figure by then you maybe move on. I really haven't, because I just find them interesting every single day. There's always there's a, like, look at Joshua Dobbs. Like, if you're not a fan, Joshua Dobbs, a quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, he's been a quarterback for like 6 different teams in a year. Here's a guy whose opportunity presented itself to be the quarterback for Arizona. They're terrible, but he was decent. And then he gets traded to Minnesota, ends up on the field in a game. He didn't even know the people's names on his team, and he led them to a victory. And then he leads them to another victory. I find that incredible. Like, every person in life, if an opportunity presents itself, you have to seize that opportunity. He's doing that. So stuff like that happens all the time. So I love it. And like, my wife knows who she married. You know, she kind of signed up for this. Unfortunately, where the TV's probably going to be on, and it's probably going to be on a game. It sucks because, like, people say, "Hey, have you seen this series, this TV show?" The TV shows I watch last 2 hours, and it's like at the end of it, someone wins and someone loses. You know, I don't watch a lot of Netflix series, and that probably sucks. I should be more well-rounded. So maybe it impacts my life that way, where I don't do as many things as I wish I probably should. I probably should. But it's been my life, and it's been my career, and I invest in that. So it's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way, but as I'm answering this question, I think I kind of realize it makes me less well-rounded as a human being, which is not great, but it's worked out okay from a job standpoint.
I'm glad you love it, and I hope you continue to do so.
Cheers, man. I appreciate that.
Hello, Mr. Van Pelt. I'm Jackson.
Hey, Jackson.
I was gonna ask, what's your Mount Rushmore of sporting events that you've witnessed?
Wow. Masters for sure. You know, this might be crazy. Like, the Super Bowl is not on it. It's not on it. Super Bowl is a very corporate thing. I'd say any SEC home football game is on it. That just the atmosphere, the vibe is insane. NCAA tournament, the Final Four, for sure. So that gives me one more. It's another golf thing. It's the Open Championship. You might call it the British Open, but I'd call it's the Open Championship. So, and this is very specific to me because I've covered golf my whole career. So I got two golf majors on there: the Masters and the Open. Any SEC home football games, could be any, and NCAA tournament. Those are my favorite things that I've covered by far.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to ask a question for a girl who she's lost her voice, but she is.
That happened to me when I was on the air. That was not great.
I was watching that when that happened. Yeah.
And then I was supposed to go to Las Vegas to do Monday Night Countdown, and I couldn't speak. It was not great. Anyway, so for her, I just lemon and hot tea. It'll be fine.
So she's in our media classes and journalism classes, and she kind of wondered, what is your writing process like whenever you're doing writing for SportsCenter or Monday Night Countdown or whatever it may be?
It depends on the. It's very different based on what it's for. In other words, let's say I have an on camera in advance of a highlight. It should be short. It should be 30 seconds is probably about right as a baseline, or I should say as a ceiling. That's as long as you want to go. No one wants to look at me or hear me talk for that long in advance of, like, as a setup. I did something the other night out of Jim Harbaugh's sound. Jim's talking about we're America's team and this and that. I wrote a little longer for that because I find it interesting how Michigan's framing themselves as the victim here, and they're talking about everything other than addressing whether they did it or not. It's not unique A lot of people do that, talk about everything other than the thing that is the reason why you're being talked about. But when I write I write longer form stuff, like we have like an essay kind of a thing called One Big Thing. And that could be 3 minutes. And when I write for that, I write much differently because I'm writing a piece. I'm writing something that's going to have a beginning, middle, and end. And so I approach that clearly differently than I would a 15-second voice VO, which is a voiceover, right? That's just what's the fact, what's pertinent, what has to be said. There's no opinion in that. There's no room for that. So that type of writing is just very nuts and bolts, black and white, what matters, get in, get out. If I'm giving a thought out of a soundbite or whatever, that might be a little bit longer. And then when I'm writing One Big Thing, as I said, probably the one that got the most attention of anything I've done was when we put our dog down last spring. I did like a 6-minute obituary on the air about a dog in a sports show. And still to this day, wherever I go, people, my dog's name was Otis. And wherever I go, it's still people say, man, that thing you did about Otis. And I'll just smile. It's beautiful. Like we put it up on the air, and in like 2 days, there was 3 million views or 5 million views. It was ridiculous. And that obviously was a different type of writing. One I hope not to do again, because it was way too emotional. But that's a different question. You asked about the writing, but it speaks to just what I've learned about this job is that if you're going to do it and you share yourself, like people know I'm a Maryland guy. All right, when we get beat, I'm going to hear about it. People know about my family because I've shared stuff about my family. People know we lost our dog. Like I have found that if you're willing to share your life with people, that people will care about your life. Because I am lucky. I'm in a medium where so much is spread out and not many people can create a relationship with an audience. We have, so I'm willing to share that in the writing. Not everybody is, and I get it. You don't have to. I'm just not able to keep that stuff behind some stuff is not meant for everybody, but I'm willing to share the rest. And so don't be afraid to be personal in your writing, I guess is what I'm saying. But I recognize that I am kind of in a unique space where it asks for that. And for the young lady that asked, maybe should she be as personal? I'd say, yeah, I'd say, don't be afraid to share what matters to you, because that's most likely to be writing that resonates. You know what I'm saying? Because it conveys emotion, conveying things that are important to you. I think that leads to like passionate writing, which is what cuts through.
All right. Perfect. All right. We got a couple more kids. I think maybe it might be a few people you've seen before here. But
That's
might be some new ones. Yep.
Fine. Bring it.
First of all, sorry about your dog.
That's okay.
But so I was sitting back there and I just heard you say that Michael Jordan was a GOAT.
Yep.
And I just want to know how 38,000 career points, 4 titles, 4 finals MVPs is not the greatest of all time. How is LeBron James not the greatest basketball player of all time?
I mean, it's simple counting, 6 for 6. And now, it's like, that's just math. And I'm just kidding. If you say to me LeBron's the best of all time, I would not argue, because I think he's demonstrated as a basketball player what makes him unique. All right. Incredibly talented player, incredibly talented. And if he's your GOAT, who am I to say that you're wrong? The only thing I would counter with is, did you see Jordan play? And you didn't.
No.
And that doesn't make you a bad person. You're a younger person. It was, and the thing, here's when the young people cut it up and tell me that Michael Jordan played against plumbers, okay. The Detroit Pistons would body you on the ground. Okay, they would bully you because they were that's what they were, and he had to go through them to get there. It was a different style. It was a different era. Jordan just had a gear and it was different. He was a different type of competitor than James. or anyone of this era, because he would kill you to win. And I saw it firsthand. I'm a Maryland guy. I saw him play at North Carolina, and you knew he was good, but no one knew he was going to become what he became. But so we're clear, you say LeBron. I'm not arguing that, because there's an argument to be made. I just find that the people who saw both, more of them say what I say, and people that only saw LeBron, like, I get why you say that, you know. And there's an argument from modern day fans that'll say Kobe, and I'm like, I get that too. He was a bad boy, no question, no question. And this is what makes it a fun conversation, because you've got some facts on your side. And the first thing an old head like me is going to say is, how many titles did Michael get? 6. How many chances did he have? 6. Oh, okay, cool. And then you're going to tell me he played against plumbers. I'm going to say, okay, sit down, because you don't have any idea about what Karl Malone was, or what the Pistons were, or who the Celtics were. You just don't, you know. But that's okay. That's what makes it fun. Your answers is LeBron, right?
Yeah.
No, I got no issue. Go ahead.
Well, I also grew up in Cleveland, so for him coming from there, and plus, I don't really think Jordan played against plumbers. My whole thing is, if you put LeBron's career, it's like if you swap Jordan and LeBron has his career in Jordan's era, and Jordan has his career in this era, I think you still see that LeBron's a better player. I just feel like I don't know how to explain. I feel like Jordan was the first ever GOAT, so like people can't like let go of that, if that makes sense.
I know that again, people of my era and age that saw it and saw him become what he became, will have a hard time putting somebody beyond him. It's not fair though, because it's like, just because you don't lose in the finals, well, Jordan lost short of the finals, right? Like, and I'm like, yep, that's true, he did. When he came back, they got beat by Orlando, and it's like that happened too. I'm not saying the guy was bulletproof. It's just that he did, when the opportunity was there to grab the ring, he did every time. So there's no right answer or wrong answer, in my opinion. Like, I'm not you're an idiot if you say LeBron. Not at all. Not at all. I just always defer to, like, I've seen both. And, you know, the impact as a player LeBron has is really hard to argue against, because his size, the fact that he's doing what he's doing now at this age, that's we've never seen that.
Yeah,
that's insane. Like, you're not supposed to look like this and play like this at this age. We saw Jordan. He was playing in DC at that point. We were all like, look at Jordan. Like, he was a little heavier in the middle and played on the ground by that point. Yeah. LeBron's still, like, you know, all of this nightly. I don't know how we're doing that, man. I don't get it. So I'm not trying to talk you out of your answer, but so don't try to talk me out of mine.
No. So you'd have MJ and Jordan 1 and 2. So who would your top 5 be?
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is somebody that's hard not to have in the mix. Like, I get that people don't. I'm terrible at lists. Like, because I'll start going, and then I'll be like, well, I'm gonna just tell you, I'm stopping it, because I'm terrible at lists. Do you have any old people on your list?
I mean, I would say I have MJ, Braun, and Kobe, at least 3, because they're all the same. They're kind of the same player. And then I have Kareem in mind.
Okay.
And I would either go like Tim Duncan or Shaq for 5.
See, prime Shaq, there's never been anything like that. He was an unguardable force of nature. Like, Duncan did it totally different, you know? Duncan did it with more sort of finesse and bank shots and whatever else. And Shaq was just, there's just nothing physically like him. And he had great feet, and he had unbelievable basketball IQ, and he was a fierce competitor. Like, that's like, Kobe's got to be on it. Shaq's got to be on it. But then what are we doing with Duncan? Like, I got 6 and you asked for 5. Like, that's why I'm terrible. I'm the worst at lists. I refuse to do them. But I'll tell you, it's 1-2 for me with LeBron and MJ. All but right, MJ's 1 for me. For me.
All right, thank you.
All right, man.
How you doing today?
Fly, Eagles, fly. Love it.
Yes, sir. Go Birds. So what do you think about the tush push?
I don't like it because it doesn't feel like football. It feel like, hold up, don't shake your head. It just if there was a play I could run in basketball that I knew the other team couldn't stop and you're going to get 2 points, I would just be like, it bothers me that I just know they're going to get it on every play. But this is where Sirianni is right when he says if everybody else could do it, they would. That's not. I don't. That's not my issue. It's not my issue that who's doing it. I don't. And again, I root for Washington. Those are 2 great games this year, by the way. Washington had a chance to win both of them. I don't have a problem with who's doing it. It's just I don't like watching a play I know is going to work before it even happens. And he actually fumbled once here in Washington on the goal line, which I couldn't believe. So that could be an argument. What doesn't always work. We had Dallas Goddard on one night on SportsCenter afterwards, and he explained to me, like, we got like a page and a half of details of how we do it. And I think it comes from who Hurts is, who Kelsey is, and who the guys are that are doing it. Like Hurts just kind of crowd surfs that pile. It's an incredible play. Again, my only issue is in sports, like the gentleman that asked earlier, like, do I still love it? And I do, because like you get to see things that you don't know what's going to happen. And knowing when you get to the 1 yard line that Hurts is going to score a touchdown, it takes, I don't want to say it takes the joy out of it. It takes the intrigue out of it mostly. But here's the thing. If I'm a Philly fan and you are, I'd say tough bleep. Like, we're allowed to do it. We're great at doing it, and we're going to do it. You know, there should be zero apologies from Philly's side, and there's not. I just wonder, will the league come in and try to create some reason to take it out for exactly the thing I'm talking about? That it takes the can you score from the 1 yard line question off the table, because you're going to, and you do over and over and over again. So I'm sure you like it, and I get why. Hey, you guys gonna win on Monday night, by the way?
Yeah, we are.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right.
Stop.
All right, my guy.
And also, who do you think the MVP is
this year?
Yeah.
NFL?
Yeah.
I have no idea. We had this conversation the other night. No one's played well enough yet. We're truly going to find out in the next 2 months, because like the other night on Countdown, like they brought up CJ Stroud, and I'm like, are we allowed to just say he's great as a rookie and not have to say MVP? And everyone's like, well, Mahomes isn't as good. Hurts has turned it over more. Like Hurts' numbers still feel good. Last year he didn't turn it over much. This year he's turned it over more. I think Lamar Jackson and Baltimore have a chance if the offense plays better for him to be the guy to win it. But I'd say right now, just like the answer earlier about who's going to win the Super Bowl, I feel like there's like 5 or 6 teams that any one of them I'd go, yeah, okay, you guys are obviously on the list. Hurts could absolutely win it. Yeah. I just think whoever wins it is going to win it in these next 8 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I have no idea right now because there's no clear answer. It's just a muddled picture with a bunch of possibilities.
Yeah, it's pretty close. All right, thank you.
You got it, man. Go Birds. I love Eagles fans. The best.
All right, Mr. Van Pelt, I'm back. So
my quarterback is back. Yes, sir.
That's right. You see the hoodie, Grizz gang, big Titans fan, tighten up. My thing is, you a Maryland guy. What's up with your man Chigakonkwo, man? Why can't he catch the football?
Who?
The tight end. Yeah, he can't catch, man.
He can't catch.
Nah. Seriously though, what do you think? Is Will Levis the answer?
What's the question? Is he the answer to what question? Am I QB1 in Tennessee? Maybe. I think Mike Vrabel's a friend. I love him. His team loves him because he's a guy that did it. Like, I don't know. Like the fact that Stroud comes out and looks as good as he does in Houston, and you play, like, who's his guys? Like look at who Levis has as his options. You got Nuke. All right, Hopkins. He's not in the prime of his career, but he's still a wide receiver one. Treylon keeps getting hurt. I wish he could stay healthy.
He's not it.
Chig, okay. You got Henry behind you. Like, you got people around you in Tennessee. You got enough to work with. CJ Stroud's got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, who's this big, but he's awesome. Like, he doesn't have superstars at his position, and he looks tremendous. So CJ's showing you can be a rookie and be great. So Levis came flying out of the gate in that game against Atlanta, right? What do you have, 4 touchdowns?
Oh yeah.
The next 2 not as good. Look, Mike clearly thinks he's the best option, and the fact that they're playing him over a healthy Tannehill lets you know that Vrabel in Tennessee thinks he's the answer. So that's good enough for me. But I just think it's a really hard position. You play it, like, that's a hard position to play in the league, man, especially for young guys. Most young guys don't get in there and shine immediately. They play Jacksonville this week, right? I think that's who they.
Yeah, we go to Jacksonville.
This feels like a gotta have it game. If you're Tennessee, the division's still a possibility, but you have to have this one.
Oh yeah. My thing is though, up front we're terrible. You look at the 2 other teams he played in Pittsburgh on Thursday night and Tampa Bay. Their front 7 is tops in the league. Our O-line sucks. We went and got Skronsky first round, but I mean Andre Dillard at left tackle. You might as well put me out there.
Yeah. Again, you play the position, so there's not a quarterback on earth. Go back to Tom Brady. Like, is he the GOAT? Well, if he doesn't have left tackle or to right tackle 5 in front of him that can keep the defense away from him, no one can do it. So I agree with you there. You've got to have that, or you have no chance. And that's not glamorous. We don't play fantasy football for guards or centers. Right. Like, we don't get points for that, so we don't pay attention. I don't mean me, you and me. I mean in general. So, Levis is an interesting dude, man. He's kind of complicated, just because he's a confident cat, and you got to back it up if you want to carry yourself in a certain way. And I think he's shown what the ceiling looks like. That first game was awesome. But it's just such a hard position to play for all the reasons you're spelling out.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Last thing I got. Ever since Will Levis played that game against the Falcons, I've been putting mayo in my coffee. Thank you.
Enjoy yourself, man. That's not for me.
Hey, Mr. Van Pelt. I was wondering if you have a favorite sport to cover or if you have a least favorite sport to cover.
Least favorite, like, sports I don't know well always concern me. Like, I don't know auto racing, and I don't mean like whether it's NASCAR or F1. Like, I don't know it, and my fear is always when I talk about it, I don't want to come off as being an idiot. And like, the people that in like high level soccer, like Premier League soccer, the people that love that sport get angry at you when you don't talk about it. But then if you do talk about it, and you talk about it in a way that isn't on the level that they understand it, then they hate you more. And it's like, I can't win, because if I don't talk your sport, then I suck. But if I do talk your sport in a way that you think isn't like up to your level, then you give me crap. So it's not that I don't like those sports. It's that it's difficult to talk about them from a perspective of really knowing it. And so I try to be honest about it, but I try to learn as much as I can so that I can say, listen, I don't get it the way you do, but here I recognize it's important. So I've been doing it 20 some odd years. Like, these are sports that I'm not going to ignore them. I just try to be honest about my level of understanding of them, if that makes sense. Yeah. But there's no sport I don't like. When I watch an F1 race, it seems like to me like Verstappen just wins every time because his car's faster. Like, I don't know if there was like the tush push question, right? Like, if I already know who's going to win, why am I watching? Yeah. But as far as like the favorites, just it depends on when you catch me. Like, a Saturday night game in Baton Rouge, like, it's hard to beat that, man. College football is unbelievable. The passion, all that's wrapped up in it. But then in a couple of months, you give me a conference basketball night game in Cameron or something, like college hoops, the passion of that's unbelievable. Typically college sports are the ones I like the best. But I'm lucky because, I mean, if it's a buffet, like, I'm putting all of it on the plate. I love the NBA. I love the NFL. I love Major League Baseball. I love the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like, I really enjoy all of them, which goes back to the question I was asked earlier about, dude, like, I still really love it. I still really enjoy it. And I'm lucky I do, because it's what I have to talk about every night. So there's nothing I hate, and there's a lot that I love, and that makes every day a whole lot of fun.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Van Pelt. My name is Andrew, and I was just really curious who you feel like the most valuable player for a team that's not a quarterback is. Like, if there's one player that without that person, that team wouldn't be successful.
This year, I don't know what you guys are without Watt.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking too, because I feel like nobody really has more of an impact for the
Well,
team.
I mean, but let's say him. Like, is Cleveland the same without 95? Like, Myles Garrett is a bad man.
Yeah, I get a little
on the
scared.
offense. Say again?
I get a little scared every time we have to play him, but
I bet you do. I bet you
Yeah.
do. He's a force. You guys have him this week, don't you? Yeah.
yeah, we do.
And they want to get even for that one in Pittsburgh. One of those games you guys won that we're like, how'd they win that game? I think on offense, like AJ Brown's been incredible. He's one of those guys that he's so big physically that Hurts can just throw him the ball. Like, it's there. You know, you talk about a 50-50 ball, but with him, it's not. He's just, I'm getting the football. But let's stick with our answer. Let's say your guy Watt, because I mean, when like I talk with my guy Marcus Spears, who played on that side of the ball, and we talk about it's Garrett and Watt. Like, who's better? Like, if I pick first and I take Watt and you get Garrett, then you're going to be happy. And if you take Watt and I get Garrett, then I'm going to be happy. So they're kind of on the same type of level. But those are the biggest game wreckers in the game right now.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got about 8 minutes. You want to ask a question? You ready?
I'll try to answer questions shorter. I'm not good at that.
Hello, Mr. Van Pelt. I'm Aiden.
Hey, Aiden.
I'm a big college football fan, and I want to know who your #1 team in the country is right now.
Georgia.
Georgia.
I think they got it right yesterday. I think Georgia's found it these last couple games. They're going to have to go to Tennessee this week, which is scary. Tennessee's offense is kind of limited this year. But Georgia, like my guy Stanford Steve, I don't know if you've ever watched our show, but I work with a guy that I call him Stanford Steve. He played tight end for Stanford, so he knows the game. And he was on the field in Athens this week, and he's like, they're so connected as a group. They've won 27 straight games. They've lost a ton of dudes to the NFL, and these guys have kind of found their footing. Michigan might be. I don't know, because they've really only played one game against the team that's anything close to them, and that was against Penn State, and they ran it down their throat, which is they're unreal. I've seen it from Georgia against teams that feel like they're kind of in the same weight class more, but I mean, Michigan might very well be the answer. Who's yours right now?
I'm a Buckeye.
Okay, so I gave you 2 terrible answers right now.
Yeah, that's all right.
Well, but hey, like you guys, you beat Penn State. You guys have gotten better, a lot better in this last month. And for you, it's the same as it always is. You got a 1-game season, and it's next week in Ann Arbor. So I think if you, my question is that an elimination game? Like, is there a chance for the loser of that game to stay in the playoff? I don't know.
I don't think.
I don't think so either, because I think there's too many teams on the back. Like the Pac-12's got to have somebody this year,
right?
And like, what if Georgia loses to Alabama? Like, is that an elimination game for them? Probably not.
No.
But just to be clear, I mean, it's the 3 for me right now. Is it's Georgia, it's Ohio State, and it's Michigan. I think Michigan next week. I can't wait to see next week.
Me too.
Because there's so much cooked into it, and you guys are so pissed that you lost 2 years in a row to them. Like, you won for a decade straight, you lose 2, and everybody wants to fire your coach. Man, everybody needs to calm down. But you're right. You're right there in the mix, clearly.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We only have a couple more minutes.
Hey, Mr. Van Pelt, I got another
Goat, my guy.
Who's your favorite baseball player of all time?
Wow. See, I'm old. You're not gonna know these guys. I'm an Oriole fan.
Okay.
So I grew up on like Cal Ripken, a guy who passed recently named Brooks Robinson. I know you guys never would have seen.
I know who those are.
Well, he was incredible. My favorite was our first baseman, guy named Eddie Murray, who's a Hall of Famer. He exactly right. I love it. I love when young people know the guys that they didn't see. I just loved him because I was an Oriole fan, and Eddie was a dude who never smiled. He was just an absolute killer, and that he was my favorite, Eddie Murray.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
Right. Got like 3 minutes. Anybody got a question?
I'm trying to go fast. I just can't do it. I talk too much. I'm sorry.
All right. Hold on 1 second. All right. The quarterback's going to be here in 1 second, but there's a debate among my classes. In a street fight in their prime, who would win, Mike Tyson or Conor McGregor?
What?
Yeah, I know. They're too nervous to get up here and ask. And I said, well, I'll be up there. I'll go. And
Mike
ask.
Tyson has Conor McGregor by 40 pounds and would tie him in a knot and shove him in a trash can. Are you
Okay.
what?
All right. Okay. There
Mike
you go.
Tyson would rip off Conor McGregor's head and shove him in a trash can. Conor McGregor. Now you're going to tell me the MMA part. Like you got to, he'd get Mike on the ground. Well, you'd have to get him on the ground first. Like,
yeah. All right, David. David, you're the last question, and then we'll close it up. All right.
All right, Mr. Van Pelt. First of all, I got to shout out my father. He's a big fan of yours. He watches Sports Center every night.
tell him thank you. I appreciate him.
Yes, sir, I will. But my next question, my last question of the day. So I don't know if you know him. His name is Brenton Strange. Do you know who that is?
Tight end.
Yeah, there you go. Played at Penn State. He went to school here. And I just wanted to know, like, if you've ever broadcasted their games or anything like that, or touched on Brenton at all, if you know of him.
Didn't he have a ridiculous touchdown against Purdue last year?
Yes, he did. He had some crazy plays at Penn State. Caught that ball on that guy's back and stuff.
Yeah, we talked about Brenton Strange. I'm pretty sure it was, that's wild. I think if I'm right, he had a touchdown late in the first half against Purdue. That was just this ridiculous game and a ridiculous play rather. And yeah, I mean, I know his name for sure. I mean, I know he's one of the many. I mean, Penn State's got a long list of dudes in the NFL from his position, so I'm familiar with him. He played at your high school.
Yes, sir. He actually comes back in town and stuff, and I throw routes to him and stuff. So it's cool to have a connection with somebody like that.
That's awesome.
Yes,
well,
sir.
You know what I'd say? Like when you become a big star and you come back, man, let people let people. That's great that he lets you know that he's still like everybody's from somewhere, right? And you're from there. So, you know, if you go on to become some big star someplace, don't forget where you're from, you know, like we're all from someplace, and that showing that kind of connection to your hometown and your home school is a really important thing. That's cool that he does that.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you, Mr. Van Pelt.
Thank you.
Well, first off, we can't thank you enough. I'm going to ask one last question here before our kids head to lunch. A few years back when we started these, we had a student who said we should always ask the people, what's 1 or 2 pieces of life advice you'd give to a high school junior or senior as they're kind of moving on? So what's a piece of life advice you would give?
Don't be in a big rush to leave where you are, right? I mean, be present in your present. Be with the people you're with today in this room, be in this school, be in these halls, be present. And then if you're lucky enough to go to college, don't be in a big rush to get to the real world, because frankly, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but the real world is not sitting around just going, wait, we need those people from that high school or that college. They just aren't. And when you're going to meet people that aren't from where you're from, they don't look like what you look like, they don't think what you think, but they're going to help shape your life. If you're willing, like the people from Maryland, like my best friends, my roommates in my dorm room. Okay. It was a black kid from Baltimore, a black kid from Atlantic City, a Chinese Jamaican from Miami, a Puerto Rican kid from Bloomfield, New Jersey. Like I'm a white kid from the suburbs. Those are my guys. Like, and it's, the world is a beautiful tapestry of people, man. And I enjoyed it today because I saw a lot of different faces. Would have been cool. Like, I guess a girl did ask a question, but she just didn't have her voice.
We've got like 20 girls in here. They didn't ask questions.
That's okay. And I mean, maybe they're not interested, you know, and if they're not, I'm not their cup of tea. That's okay. What I'm trying to say is the world's a big place, and be interested in people that you meet that aren't where you're from, that aren't from a group of people that you have interacted with, because those people can become important parts of your life if you're open to that. And it's really important to recognize that. just be decent human beings to each other, man. Like, it's not complicated. And I say to my kids all the time, like, I say, be optimistic because it costs the same. When it comes to how you view the world, you could be like, that's not going to happen. This isn't going to work. I'm not going to make it. Or you could say, I'm going to bust my hump and I'm going to make it. And like, it's the same exact choice you have to make, be optimistic or be pessimistic. So I always try my best to be optimistic. I always try my best to be a decent human being. I always try my best to be curious and be open-minded about things I don't know about or people I haven't met before. And I've been really blessed. I've seen the world. I've traveled a lot. I've met a lot of people, and that's helped frame the way I see things. But just be optimistic, be present wherever your journey takes you, be grateful for whatever you've got, and work your butt off to get the things that you want. You know, I mean, I'm a pretty good example that, I don't know, it's worked for me, and I'm grateful every single day that it has. So just gratitude is the most important thing. I should have said that first. Just be grateful for whatever your circumstances have provided you, and be thankful for the blessings.
Well, we can't thank you enough. I'm glad that we were able to connect and do this. And
yeah, you've been awesome. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sure the bell's going to ring and you got to go to the next thing. But to my Buckeye guy, OH, to my Eagles guys, go Birds, all that stuff. Steelers, here we go, all that stuff. It's cool to meet. It's cool to see those young faces. I appreciate you, Sam. That was really nice.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yep. All right.
All right.
See you. Go Hoos. I love that shirt.
Yeah.
Keep repping. See you guys.
Yeah.